Hi, folks. I am sorry to be late. I was on the 8 o'clock show of Around the World with Brandy and Dee, and I completely forgot. I had to start my 9 o'clock show here. We were having a very good discussion there. By the way, thank you for being here, Kay. I noticed that you're here um, at this point. And let me see who else is here. Well, I see two other people here, but you're the only one who said hello, Kay. So thank you very much, Kay, at this point. So, of course, I'm here for empowering democracy. This is a Dump the Corruption show, and we're going to cover the fundraising of Jared Huffman of California and Chris Deluzio of Pennsylvania. I believe he's in the 12th district of Pennsylvania. He is Lisa Theobald's congressperson. And we're going to cover the fundraising of Steve Cohen, okay, of Tennessee, a longtime congressperson who is, generally speaking, too lefty for his area. I'm not sure how he's managed to survive all those years, but he's a very clever person and he's managed to do it. I'm sure we'll find out something about how he's done it for so long. But anyway, okay, I'll start. Okay, I think I'm going to give this a little countdown because I haven't had a chance to do that yet. Hey, Steve, how are you? Great to see you. I think I'm going to do a little countdown because I need to do a bit of sharing. So if you'll excuse me for just a moment. Okay, I am back and ready to start. I'm going to start with Chris Deluzio today. So let's look at Open Secrets. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. This was the Pennsylvania 17th District 2022 race. And here is Christopher Deluzio, who raised $3,256,753. He spent $3,205,761, came out of it with cash on hand of $50,992, and he ran against Jeremy Schaffer, who was a Republican conservative. Not a nutcase, I don't think. He was sort of a Pennsylvania conservative, probably not to the right of Kevin McCarthy. But Jeremy Schaffer was well supported by the Republican Party. He raised $2,754,951, and he spent $2,640,000 $7,968. He emerged with $106,983 cash on hand. Well, how did Chris Deluzio win? Well, one thing that's interesting is when we look at the outside spending by candidate. Chris was supported with $1,253,374 in outside money, and he was opposed by $7,658,499 in outside money. And Jeremy Schaffer was supported by outside spending to a greater extent than Chris Deluzio, $1,751,452, an advantage of about $500,000 for Jeremy Schaffer. But Jeremy Schaffer was opposed by $7,526,587. So he was also opposed by a little smaller amount of money than Chris Deluzio was. So then how did Chris Deluzio win? The financial advantage, though it was a small financial advantage, went to Jeremy Schaffer. But Chris Deluzio still won pretty handily. So how did that happen? Well, I think the way it happened was that Chris had a superior ground game. Where did the ground game come from? I think it came from the unions. Hang on a second. I'm going to let someone in. I think that someone is likely to be Gregory Mallard. So here is Gregory Mallard, the host.
What's this person's name?
What's this?
The person you've got pulled up, so that way I can add them to the doc.
Oh, okay. It's Chris Deluzio.
Okay, cool.
Okay. He was from the 17th district, of Pennsylvania, which is Lisa Theobald's district. Okay, Gregory is the host of Evolution, and he's also an activist and organizer, in Georgia. He's had considerable experience, at that. And of course, he's a member of our team, the team that produces Empowering Democracy Around the World with Brandy and Dee and Revolution Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
We're all together teaming at this point, which I think is a bit of an experiment. It seems to me it's working out well, even though we're all working very hard at it.
Yeah, we do a lot of hard work behind the scenes to get this put on for everyone, to provide proof that even though these people claim to be progressive, but their fundraising proves otherwise.
Right. So let's get back to how the fundraising happened. What we've shown so far is that there was a tremendous amount of fundraising for Chris Deluzio, and a tremendous amount of fundraising for Jeremy Schaffer, his opponent. who actually had a small financial advantage, but Chris won anyway. So, one question important here is, how did Chris win? Well, I think that a big factor here was union organizing. Chris is a union organizer and has been for years. And his connections in the community enabled him, of course, to raise a lot of money, but in addition, it enabled him to have a ground game that was much stronger than Jeremy Schaffer's. Also, the district involved, the Pennsylvania 17th, uh, while not a completely solid blue district, is reasonably solid blue district. I think those factors combined uh, for Chris Deluzio to win fairly handily. But let's go back to
Yeah, I'm looking at the stuff on his district now, and it's a fairly purple district.
yeah, it's a fairly purple district, so it's not a blue district, but there are plenty of Democrats in the district, and it is a labor district, and he was able to organize from the labor base. And I think that was true, okay, as well. So, uh, okay, this is a representation of the PACs in that particular district. And you can see that the business PACs came in much more heavily for Jeremy Schaffer. He raised 134,000 500 from business PACs, and a whole bunch from ideological PACs, uh, but 300.3 thousand. And Chris Deluzio raised 259.1 thousand from his ideological PACs, uh, and also 157,000 from labor PACs, and a small amount from business PACs, close to 14,000. So there was, in the end, a small PAC advantage because of labor for Chris, and that helped him. If we look at, okay, let's see what it says under candidates here, because this is not the standard kind of setup that we've been seeing, probably because, as is true for many other candidates as well, all of the open secrets data isn't in yet. And that was the case here. If we look at the source of funds here, small individual contributions for Chris were at 545,832. Large individual contributions were at 2,094,927. PAC contributions were at 455,832. Candidate self-financing by Chris, God bless you, honey, was at 3,344,000. And then there was an other category of 159,820. I don't know where that came from. Small individual contributions for Jeremy Schaffer came in at 93,082 versus 545,000 for Chris Deluzio, which means, of course, that Chris had uh, a much higher commitment from small dollar individuals who probably were active in his campaign. Okay, Jeremy Schaffer got large individual contributions, but uh, I wonder if they were as large as Chris's. Yeah, Chris had a big advantage in large individual contributions, which is kind of interesting. Uh, and in PAC contributions, 431,000 for Jeremy and 455,000 for Chris. They were pretty equal there, which means, of course, with that much coming from PACs, it means that both of them were PAC men and would fail a litmus test in that particular context. Candidate self-financing, I suspect Jeremy's going to have a big advantage there. And he did. He spent about $1 million, 7,858 of his own money to try to get elected. And he had also a big category of other financing that there was no breakdown of. So that's kind of interesting. So let's look at some of the individual contributors. For Chris Deluzio, there was a law firm, the Lipton Wachtell law firm, that gave him $31,200. And Ameripac, the Fund for Greater America, gave him $25,400. So you'll notice these were not giant contributions, but there were sizable contributions from a lot of sources supporting Chris here. Small contributions from Apple Incorporated and from various unions. When I say small contributions, I mean, in this case, 10,000, not contributions matching the size that we've seen for other candidates, but a lot of such contributions. Now you see Jeremy Schaffer's highest contribution was 75,300 in 96 from one party. And then it drops down to contributions in the 12,000 range. So he got a lot of relatively small contributions.
He's still a PAC man.
Yeah, he's still a PAC man. And of course, he spent $1 million of his own money, which also disqualifies him. And the reason why it does is when you take a lot of money from rich individuals, that's another criterion, of the rule. You're not allowed to do that, and that includes taking your own money for a campaign of 1 million. So he fails, the litmus test on 2 counts. He's a PAC man, and he used his own wealth for the campaign. That's a failure of the litmus test. That hasn't come out, in previous analyses. But what the litmus test says is you can't take any money from wealthy individuals. You can't take any money from PACs. You can't take any money from the party committees. And of course, you have to repudiate money from the super PACs. And you can't take any money from corporations.
I'd love to see their super PAC donations. Like, I don't know why Open Secrets does not disclose super PAC funding.
Well, they do to some degree, like that outside spending, that category of outside spending. They total that up. There's no breakdown, But the point is, that's what outside groups uh, spent in support of the campaigns. There was 1,751,000 in outside money supporting Jeremy Schaffer, and there was $7.5 million that was opposing Jeremy Schaffer. There was more money uh, supporting and opposing Jeremy Schaffer and supporting and opposing Chris Deluzio, uh, nearly 18 million in this, uh, than their campaigns raised. In other words, the campaigns did very healthy fundraising. Okay, I think, let's see, I'll go back to it here, get it from the summary.
Holy crap. Stacey Abrams is in $1.4 million in campaign debts.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's really amazing. Okay, Chris Deluzio raised $3.2 million for his campaign. He almost met the average for congressman, which was $3.5 million. But Jeremy Schaffer only raised $2.7 million. So together, they raised about $6 million between them. But the outside spending in this particular campaign, that was enormous. Like I said, it came to 18 million. So financial forces were really contesting this campaign to a large degree. And Chris Deluzio's win was due, I believe, to on the ground efforts that Jeremy Schaffer did not have. It was due to the union organizing that supported him. And I think, as we're going to see, I will look at the top industries that supported him here. There were lawyers and law firms. They really contributed to Chris Deluzio. $319,046. That's big. Also, retired people, 306,676. Securities and investments, surprisingly, 222,565. Education groups, 118,000. Also, Democratic Liberal Group, 75,000. From real estate, 72,242. From leadership PAC, 64,400. From business services, 54,097. Nonprofit institutions, 48,347. Health professionals, 45,560. And TV, movies, music, 45,000. Pro-Israel groups gave 42,553. I don't think that was DMI or APAC. It was probably J Street or organizations like that.
But we'll know more about that when after a while, when we do a refreshment course
Yeah,
on
we'll
these
know a
types of
little more.
members who haven't fully disclosed their fundraising yet.
Right. Okay, but look at Jeremy Schaffer. He only raised $149,212 from securities and investment. Whereas for Chris Deluzio, he raised 222,565 from that same sector. And he was supposed to be the union man. But the securities and investment PACs gave him more money than they gave to Jeremy Schaffer, which I think is a very interesting statistic. Also, Jeremy Schaffer raised a lot from the retired PACs. 266,725. Chris raised more, but you would have thought that Jeremy would have raised a lot less than that. So it's kind of interesting the way this broke down. Okay, the leadership PACs, 82,900 for Jeremy Schaffer, for Chris Deluzio. Leadership PACs, 64,400. So the advantage there went to Jeremy Schaffer, but not by that much, surprisingly. For the lawyers, law firms sector, they gave 29,503 to Jeremy Schaffer. And they gave to Chris Deluzio $319,046. So the legal profession was obviously much more heavily supporting Chris Deluzio as opposed to Jeremy Schaffer. I think that's really kind of interesting. Jeremy Schaffer got money from oil and gas, though, 21,553. Not that much, surprisingly. But Chris Deluzio got nothing from them. Okay, I think that's enough of that category. I thought outside spending was really interesting in this one. So let's go look at that again. Just incredible. It was so heavy. We do have outside groups spending money in this race. We don't have a breakdown by candidate. Okay, but Activate America, a super PAC, spent 245. Okay, Americans for Prosperity Action, that's the Koch group. They spent $561,099. I bet most of that, or all of it, was for Schaffer. Then there were PACs that did outside spending. One was Associated General Contractors, $10,000. Center for Essential Information, a super PAC, gave 33,718 bucks. I don't know who they gave that to. I can't guess. But the Congressional Leadership Fund, a carry group, gave $5,177,105 to someone. I don't think that would be split. If I'm not mistaken, that might be Nancy Pelosi's group. Oh, look, here are independent expenditures. This committee is a carry committee, a hybrid super PAC. No, I take it back, because they spent 203,804,953 against the Democrats. So the Congressional Leadership Fund, okay, in the other race that we just saw, we can infer that 5,177,105 was most probably for Schaffer. The DCCC spent 3,708,615, and we can infer that that was for Chris Deluzio. And they, of course, they're a pack of the Democrats. So they spent money. Uh, so they spent money, huge amount of money for Chris Deluzio, but not as large as the Carey Group spent for Jeremy Schaffer. The House Majority PAC spent 4,487,709. I should tell you here if you don't know. A Carey
Yep,
Group.
he's a Pac Man.
Okay, a Carey Group. Okay, is a PAC. That's also a super PAC. It's part PAC and part super PAC. So it can spend money like a super PAC in certain situations according to certain criteria. But it also can spend money like a PAC. The Italian American Democrat Leadership Council spent 8,391 for Chris Deluzio. That was not a big amount. The National Republican Congressional Committee spent 3,627,000 for Jeremy Schaffer. My, this was an expensive race. I hadn't realized it was so expensive race. These big players were really in here. Look at this super PAC money coming in here. It's just really fantastic. Oh, Vote Vets. They went for Chris Deluzio, who was a vet. $258,735. Big.
Yeah, I follow Vote Vets on Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, they're generally pretty lefty.
Yeah, they do a lot of stuff for veterans.
They do.
Stuff that the government should be doing, but they're not.
Okay, to summarize, Chris. Okay. Obviously, he had a lot of PAC money in back of him, both in contributing to his campaign committee and in making outside expenditures that were not coordinated with the campaign, independent expenditures. Okay. A lot of that money was flowing in and out, okay, of this campaign. Chris won that war not in fundraising. He slightly lost that war, but he won the contest for the seat. And that was clearly because his outside organization, as I mentioned, he's a union organizer, okay, from way back. And it was his ground game that won this race. And by the way, it was not a close race. I think that Chris won something like 54% to 42% or something like that. So it was a handy win for him. It was not a tight race. Nothing like the Summerlee race was. That area. So let's move on. Both of these candidates obviously failed the litmus test, but the winner, Chris Deluzio, also failed the litmus test. And we have to make that clear. Okay.
Now let's see.
Moving now to Representative Steve Cohen. I'm going to bring up his page. I gotta share the screen. Steve Cohen's this longtime congressman from Tennessee. Let's check out how long a time we can do that with the summary data, because this has the full summary data from Open Secrets, because he's been in there for a long time. I will put in campaign committee and leadership pack combined. Or to look at this, Steve Cohen, look at all the committees he's on: the Judiciary Committee and Natural Resources, Science, Space and Technology, and Transportation, and Infrastructure. He's an influential congressman with a lot of seniority. From the transportation industry, that was his top industry. He raised $40,000. His top contributor was Finco, which is probably a financial company of some sort. 21,600. His leadership pack was the Go Tigers pack, I guess. In his district, there must be a football team called the Tigers or something like that. He only raised 618,225. He spent 318,721. I mean, imagine only spending that. He probably ran almost unopposed. His cash on hand of 561,122, just in case he gets a challenge in 2024. His top contributors were Finco, 21,600 from individuals. And the FedEx Corporation gave him PAC money, $20,000. Sheet Metal Air Rail Transportation Union, he got 16,000 from individuals. Service Employees International Union, he got 5,000 from individuals, 10,000 from PACs. Saul Goldman Investments, he got 10,800 from individuals at that firm. His top industries were transportation unions, lawyers and law firms. He got a bunch of PAC money from these top contributors. He got 40,000 from the transportation unions, 16,500 in PAC money from the lawyers, 28,000 from air transport and PAC money, 23,000 from automotive and PAC money, and 5,000 from real estate, in PAC money. So the PAC money was a considerable portion of all the money he raised, since he raised only 618,000. What's very interesting here is he must be in an absolutely blue district. In 1998, his first year in the Congress, 1996, his first year in the Congress, he was way below the average in fundraising, as he was in every year until 2022. All these years, he was way below the average congressman when it came to fundraising. Just a small fraction. In 1998, he didn't raise any money. I mean, he was elected with money he raised in 1996, which wasn't much. So it's very interesting. The most money he ever raised for a campaign was in 2008. And let me see if I can get that, if I can read dollars there. I'm not getting the dollars from the bar for some reason. I don't know why. But it looks like he raised about $1.2 million in 2008. That's the most he's ever raised. Even when more and more money has gone into campaigns, he has been raising less and less, fundraising less and less.
Must be because the district keeps getting safer for him or something.
That's what I think too. It must be gerrymandered in such a way that it's very safe for him, because they're trying to concentrate.
Where is he from?
Tennessee. Okay, the
Yeah,
state is controlled by the Republicans. What they're doing is probably bunching lots of Democrats into his district, so Republicans don't have any chance to win.
yeah,
But
they do a lot of heavy gerrymandering up there in Tennessee, just
yes,
like they do down in Florida, Alabama, Mississippi.
yeah, this gives the total raised versus the average raised. This graphic. Okay, unfortunately, they don't give the total spent versus the average spent, because I'm sure that would be even more striking. Because if it wasn't more striking, there was no way that Steve Cohen could have emerged with a war chest of $1.5 million, because he raises so little for each individual election. And yet he raises enough that over a period of time he can develop a large nest egg. And he has done so, as we see above. 1,561,122. Let's look at the PAC category up here and see what is going on in the PAC category. He raised 386,000 in PAC money for 2021, 2022. Number of contributions was 235. Why is that so striking? Because if we look at those fundraising figures again, okay, in the summary, he only raised, what did I say, $618,000. Better make sure this includes the PAC money. In total, he raised $618,000, and $318,000 of that was PAC money. So more than 50% of PAC money was supporting him, which is very, very interesting. So we see he fails the litmus test, but he doesn't raise a hell of a lot of money in the first place. Okay, let's see how he spends that money. That's going to be interesting. He gave 90,000 of his 618,000 to the DCCC. He gave to Key Losh Consulting 80,500. Probably a campaign organization. To Ariane Goldner, 20,000. NGP Van, 14,000. To Rick Maynard, 10,964. That name is familiar. I'm not sure why. To Beanie's self, he gave $8,900. Gave $2,500 to the Democratic Party of Shelby County, and $2,000 to the Democratic Party of Tennessee. And Melanie Stansbury in New Mexico, he supported with $2,000. And Robert Zimmerman, I don't know where he's from, he gave $2,000. And to SunTrust Merchant Services, he gave $1,321. And the Monocle Restaurant, which is a place here in D.C., he spent $1,277 there, so he likes the Monocle Restaurant. Paragon Payment Solutions, yes, they must have paid some of his bills for him, gave him $1,241. Fried Rice Collective He gave $1,047. He gave money to one of your favorite people, Lucy McBath.
Blah, can't stand
$1,000.
her. That's your favorite people there.
My favorite people was the Fried Rice Collective. He gave 1,000 to Chris Deluzio. What do you know?
And we just went over him.
We just did one over him. And he gave $1,000 to the Metropolitan Interfaith Organization. And $1,000 to Magaziner for Congress. That's Seth Magaziner, who ran in Rhode Island.
Rhode Island is always going to be a safe blue state, so they don't really require much fundraising or much of a ground game up there.
Yeah, but Seth Magaziner is Ira Magaziner's son. And if we go back long enough, Ira Magaziner was somebody in the Clinton administration. He wrote the Clinton healthcare reform bill with Hillary. And probably Steve Cohen goes back to the Clinton administration in some way. There's probably a personal connection between Seth Magaziner and Steve Cohen. And there's Marie for Congress. That was Marie Newman, who lost, but was a good candidate. Or I should say that she was a good congressperson. Okay, she wasn't as good a candidate as she was a congressperson. He gave her $1,000. He gave $1,000 to Mary Peltola, okay, for Alaska, who seems to be quite a character. Okay, and Regina Morrison for trustee got $1,000. Raphael Warnock got $1,000.
Oh, he was a top. He. I'm gonna have to cover Raphael Warnock one of these days.
Yeah, I know you will. I
I'm
know
gonna
that's
have to, and that's gonna be probably before the 2018 elections. Because I'm gonna carry on with this dump the corruption stuff every election cycle that comes up.
oh sure. Yeah, it's really enormously illuminating, isn't it?
Oh
When
yeah,
who they spend money on and who they take money from. Right? It's really very illuminating. Okay, let's move on. I mean, obviously, we've already decided that he fails the PAC test. One thing that's good about him, he doesn't take a lot of money from all sources. I don't see that he's probably mostly on board because he doesn't get large contributions. He gets a lot of little contributions, but he does fail the PAC test. So there is that. And we're not going to try to hide that because he seems like a lovable character on other grounds. We're still not going to hide that. And there's Jared Huffman, a Democratic from California, from Northern California, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I've forgotten district.
that's not Dale Stephen Day's Congress critter, is it?
I don't know. I don't know if it's Steve Day's Congress critter. He's on the Natural Resources Committee and the Transportation Infrastructure Committee. He's been in Congress for some time now, so I'm wondering why he's only on 2 committees. But let's look up congressional elections here. He's in the 2nd district, okay, in California. And that may actually be somewhat south. I'm just not sure where that is. He raised about, looks like 1.4 million. Let me see if I can get the figure on this one. Yeah, 1.45 million. Okay. His top opponent raised $268,000. This was back in 2012. He won every election since 2012. He is way below the congressional average. In 2022, he raised only $873,000, which is a low amount to raise when the average congressperson raised $3.5 million. In 2022, he was running against somebody by the name of Doug Bauer. He raised $873,000. Doug Bauer raised $10,552. He spent $689,519. Doug Bauer spent $7,761. It's a safe Democratic district. These kinds of patterns of fundraising and spending go back for a long time. There's never anyone that seems to get near him in fundraising. 2012 was his tightest race. It was a race for an open seat. And he outraised his opponent 1,449,511, 268,634. A huge fundraising advantage for him. And let's go to the summary. Top industry was retired, 102,145. His top contributor was J Street, 13,500. So remember, J Street is the pro-Israel organization that also lobbies for Palestinian rights. His leadership pack is called the Clean Pack. Altogether, he raised $920,094, spent $735,667, has cash on hand of $1,106,868 for future campaigns. Let's see how he did on the pack end. Among his top contributors, there was J Street, $5,000 in PAC money. More came individual money, but there was PAC money there. Painters and allied trades unions, $10,000 in PAC money. Service Employees International Union, $10,000 in PAC money. Sheet Metal, Air, Rail, and Transportation Union, $10,000 in PAC money. Top industries: retired, casinos, gambling, Democratic, Liberal, transportation unions, public sector unions. He raised in the retired category from individuals $102,146. No PAC money there. Casinos and gaming, $50,000 from individuals, no PAC money there. From Democratic Liberal groups, he raised $31,602 from individuals, $6,000 from PACs. Transportation unions, he raised $36,500 from PACs. Public sector unions, he raised $32,500 from PACs. So he raised more from individuals than PACs, but he raised a healthy amount of PAC money. Here's his graphic. The blue bars versus the yellow line. You see, for most of his campaigns, he raised way below the average congressperson. Even did this in his first campaign. He was still somewhat below. For all the other campaigns, he was way below the average raised. And of course, in 2022 campaign, the average raised was uh, 3 point something like $3.45 million. This is showing less because I don't think I combined. I must not have combined. Yeah, I forgot to put the PAC money in there. There we go. So now we see things a little better. He raised $1,077,873, spent $910,000. His war chest is $1.165 million. In total versus average raised, still the same picture. He raised far below the average each time. Let's look at PACs. He raised about $389,000 in PAC money compared to somewhat over $1 million that he raised in total. So almost 40% of his money came from PACs then. So we can fairly call him a PAC man again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, another PAC man. His most generous PAC was transportation unions, 49,750. Sorry, his most generous was labor in general. Got $149,500 from labor PACs. So there it is. He also did well with ideological single issue PAC contributions. Yeah, probably that came from the Roe v. Wade issue. He got 45,462 there. His PAC contribution breakdown: from business, 205,650; from labor, 161,000; from ideological, 45,462. So let's go to his, see if we can find anything out from his major contributors. Puma Springs Vineyards, 15,800. They were his top contributors. These are the top 20 contributors. Okay, you can see that he didn't raise a big amount from each one. They're in the neighborhood of 11,000, 11,000, 12,000, 13,000. Even Puma Springs is only up at roughly 16,000. So his contributors are spread all around. He got PAC money from the Clean PAC. I don't know what that means really, but got a lot of $10,000 contributions. 10,000, 9,500, and so on. So let's see how he spent his money. On fundraising, 283,000; contributions, 131,000; administrative, 129, almost 130,000. 51,000 was on classifiable. 46,000 was on media. He didn't have salaries there. His biggest contribution was to the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, DCCC.
Yeah, we all hate the DCCC around here.
He made 9 payments to DCCC, $165,500 he gave. Uh, he gave money to Elizabeth Howland, probably she was an individual consultant. He gave money to Keylock Consulting. He gave money to S.E. Owens and Company. These are most likely helpers in his campaign. He gave money to New Blue Interactive, which is probably a web campaign organization, 45,288, and to NGP Van, almost $36,000. And Blue Wave Political Partners, $24,000. Wild Waters Fly Fishing, $11,696. And United Airlines, $11,478. Huffman for Congress, he gave $10,000 to Huffman for Congress. And Democratic Party of Sonoma County gave $8,500 too. To Indian Creek Lodge, he gave $7,803. Stanton for Congress, $7,500. Mike Levin for Congress, $7,500. Paid $69.52 to the Postal Service. Sonoma County Registrar of Voters, $66.83. Humboldt County Registrar of Voters, $65.42. Sonoma County Registrar of Voters, $66.83. What was he doing giving money to the Registrar of Voters? He gave money to Marin County Registrar of Voters. I'm curious about what those kinds of things are for, because the first time I've been seeing contributions to the Registrar of Voters. Democratic Party of California gave $56.50 to Book AirHop. He gave $56.26. Susan Wild for Congress, about $5,500. She's a Pennsylvania congressperson. Act Blue, $5,417. Friends of Dan Kildee, a Michigan congressperson, $5,000. Will Rollins for Congress, $5,000. Mary Peltola for Alaska, $5,000. Sarah Amendzadeh for Assembly, $4,900. Teresa for All, $3,500. Okay, and Melanie for New Mexico, $3,500. Matt Cartwright for Congress, $3,500. Another Pennsylvania congressman. The Spinnaker, must be a restaurant, $2,945. Titus for Congress, that is Dina Titus, in Nevada, $2,500. Josh Harder, another California congressman, $2,500. And Rudy Salas for Congress, he was running in California. Don't remember whether he won or not. Hilton, Philadelphia at Penn's Landing, $1,475. Jay Chen for Congress, $1,000. Lauren Underwood for Congress, $1,000. Andy Levin, $1,000. Donna Edwards, $1,000. These are all for Congress. Dr. Kim Schreier for Congress. She's a Washington congressperson. He gave her $1,000. She's sort of a centrist Democrat. So that's what Jared Huffman spent on. And so we can conclude just from this that he's a Pac-Man too. I don't know whether he took any money from wealthy individuals. I don't think there's enough of a breakdown to cover that. He didn't raise a lot of money to the average compared to the average congressman, but a lot of the money he did raise was from PACs. So he's another Pac-Man who fails the litmus test.
Yep, he definitely does not pass.
And I think that's it for tonight.
And the 7 people that we're going to have to do refreshers on, and it's going to be Summer Lee, Morgan McGarvey, Delia Ramirez, Greg Kassar, Becca Balint, Val Hoyle, and Chris Deluzio.
And these are all Congress people who were newly elected, I believe. And where Open Secrets didn't have time to get all their figures in the way Open
Yeah, that'll
Secrets
have to come at another date.
Yeah.
Maybe wait about a month and a half, and then they should have their stuff in order.
Yes. Okay, that's right. Okay, so just to summarize this, I thought that this was it was very interesting to go over some of these figures that dealt with the independent spending. In some of these races, how large it was, especially in the Chris Deluzio race, how it dwarfed the actual spending by the campaign itself, the outside spending. I mean, that is really undemocratic.
Very undemocratic.
It's a danger to democracy, I think, very clearly. Let's quickly go over the comments. There were not a lot of comments tonight.
Yeah, all of this big money that keeps being poured into these elections is a danger to our democracy.
Yes, that is clearly true. A comment from Steve Wolfbrand. Man, that Memphis video was brutal. I'm not sure of the Memphis video. I don't think I've seen
About
it.
Tyree Nichols.
Oh, I see that one. Yeah. Kay says, yes, it sure was, Steve. Steve says, cold-blooded murder. Yeah. And people greet each other. Greg says, I'm still here. I've went and made me a snack.
Yeah, I made me a peanut butter and banana sandwich.
Oh, Bonnie likes that kind of stuff too. Peanut butter and bananas, yes.
I use the crunchy.
What we use, Kay, is almond butter more than we use peanut butter.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, the almond butter is pretty good, but they sell that at Trader Joe's. So we shop a lot at that store. Greg says, smash that like button. Thank you, Greg. And Jeff says, hi, Kay. Okay, Greg, I already smashed the like button with my other account, so now I'll do it with this one. Thank you, Jeff. Vote early and often. Kay says, yes, I already did, Jeff. Okay, folks, so I guess we are done
And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, and don't
And hit
forget,
that notification bell as well.
to like, share, and subscribe to Greg's streams at but Revolution Evolution, because
Which
those
I
are
will not
terrific
be going live
streams.
tonight or tomorrow night because Friday and Saturday nights are my nights off.
Okay. Uh, his night's off of his show, but he's still at our shows. He was at the 8 o'clock show, which was very interesting. And don't forget to go to the Around the World with Brandy and Dee shows. Those shows focus mostly on international relations and have been very concerned with international politics in the Middle East, but also sometimes get into broader issues, okay, such as, of course, into Ukraine war. And I think we have a lot of interesting things to say there, okay, as well, because, okay, in our careers, both myself and Madeline Huffman, who frequently join us for that stream, uh, have been professionals in the international relations area. Okay, and Madeline, by the way, uh, will soon be completely moved to Colombia. Okay, if she's not already moved to Colombia. Of course, she still participates with us on these shows. Uh,
And I'm just now getting into international stuff in regards to like the Philippines and the global south.
so, anyway, that is our international show. Our Dump the Corruption shows and Revolution Evolution shows uh, are shows that deal with climate matters. Okay, and Dump the Corruption show, of course, okay, is the one that's trying to start a movement for people to dump the corruption by voting against people who take the toxic money. It's
In
about,
regards to Palestinian human rights. Oh Lord, I just saw a new article just come up from GMA Network. Pinoys in Israel advised to avoid the West Bank. And in this article, Marcos is now weighing in on the possibility of mandatory evacuation of all Filipinos out of the country to the Philippines.
right. And when we say out of the country, we mean out of the Israel Palestine area.
Yep, they're he is weighing in now on mandatory repatriations back to the Philippines. No options. There
Right.
will be no options but mandatory repatriation, and workers there are not given an option to stay or find another country to go to.
Okay, so that's a development there. So
Yep.
we are going to say good night for tonight. Okay, my days off are Saturday and Sunday.
Unless you pop over with one of my other shows.
Exactly, unless I happen to pop over, on the weekend to some of the other shows that we do. We do shows on a kind of on a what's up sort of basis. If something's happening that's really striking, we'll do a show on that. And you've been seeing that in recent days with respect to the Middle East. And you'll continue to see it as we go forward.
Have a
So,
great night, everyone.
thanks for coming.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you for coming, Greg.
And
And
thank
thank you.
you for having me on again.
That's a pleasure. And thank you, folks, for coming. Okay, as
Good night,
well.
everyone.
And we may see you on the weekend, and we'll certainly see you starting Monday, okay, of next week. If, as the saying goes, the creeks don't rise.
Indeed.
You know that old saying, Greg? Did they say that in Georgia?
They say down here, the good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.
Well, the creeks don't rise, or in both then.
Well, the creek behind my house is rising up because of all that rain that we just had.
Yeah, well,
So the
hopefully.
creek is rising.
If the creeks continue to rise, are you in a position to move your trailer?
No, it's strapped down.
Uh,
I can always hook a chain to the oak trees.
uh,
I've got chains, I've got bucks and everything to tie it down even further. You got to understand, I worked around logging, so I can strap anything down to keep it from moving.
yeah, I have the impression that you can handle most anything.
Oh yeah. Y'all have a great night.
Yeah, good night, folks.